Nintendo Entertainment System.
Your parents help you hook it up.
Hey everybody, it's Kevin here from Happy Beard Games, and you're watching the Nintendo NES from A to Zelda.
Whoa!
Now you're playing with power.
Oh, today we're on to letter C in the alphabet, and on our past videos we had letter A for Anticipation, and letter B for Bionic Commando. Now, each letter in the alphabet will have a corresponding NES title of my choice. Sometimes they will be part of a series if there's more than one of that game on the NES, as with today's title. Now, for the letter C, I actually had a poll online. I was just wondering what people think that I would choose for the letter C. And the one that got the most votes out of a few different games on the NES was Contra. And you might think, yes, Contra is the perfect example of a letter C game for the NES, but not to me. For me, personally, my favorite game that starts with the letter C is Castlevania, or rather Castlevania 3 and the Castlevania series for NES. So Castlevania 1, 2, and 3, that'd be Castlevania. Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest. Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. And these games are very important to me, they're very iconic to me. I love the entire series even past the NES, and their games have evolved and expanded across many consoles, many generations, and for the most part, they're some of my favorite games of all time. Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse by Konami. What's my name? That is not my name. There we go. That's my boy. Or, that's me. Okay, yeah. Alright, let's do this. Now you can enter any name, and the name actually affects the password system. So when you go to continue, you can either continue, or you can game over, you can continue, or use a password for later, and it'll affect the password, I believe. So we're Trevor Belmont busting out of the shadows. We got our first item, which is the whip upgrade. So they're coming pretty fast. So we got this whip upgrade here, which upgrades our leather whip into a chain whip. It has different names, but this one is a chain whip. And you get this one, which gives you the long chain whip. Whoa. And we're going into the first door. You can see the levels are called blocks. You know, block 1, which is the first area, and then block -02, which is the second area. And I believe when you get to a second part of a block, like the block number goes up, that means when you die, you can continue from that area. I'm not entirely sure if that's always accurate. You can see this part looks a lot like Castlevania 1. And we've got, we're in like a church now for some weird reason. I don't know why we're in a church, but we've got all this like stained glass. It looks really cool. It looks really vibrant on the NES. It looks really detailed as well, and I love the background on this part of the game specifically. I'm not even a religious guy, I just think it looks awesome. It definitely fits like this weird, like eerie, like medieval setting of Castlevania. It's definitely very castle-like, or at least church-like, kind of like a gothic kind of thing. So yeah, going up the steps. Now, whipping that bad boy. Those bones. Oh, got him. Sweet. I got hit once. I don't know where I got hit. I wasn't paying attention, apparently. There's a thing up there. I don't even know how you get up there. If anyone knows how to get up to that top, like, candle to whip it, and what's inside, let me know, because that's really weird. There's something like that in the first game, too. And I was like, okay, I did everything in the game. I don't know how to get to that candle. I'll never get that candle, apparently. Well, we've got Medusa heads coming out already. On the first stage, Medusa heads. Watch out. You gotta whip them. You got no stopwatch this time, Trevor. Whoa, that was a weird dodge. That was good, though. And if you like Castlevania, I haven't done a review of Castlevania 1 or 2, but I did the No Whip Challenge about a year ago of Castlevania 1, which is essentially, and the reason I'm talking about this is because it sort of reminds me of, is the No Whip Challenge is you don't use a whip on the first Castlevania. You might be able to do it on this one, too. I'm not sure. You don't use the whip, so you don't press the B button at all unless you're on a boss fight. Then you can use the whip, and you can like hit anything you want on the boss screen only. And just see how far you can get. I made it pretty far. I'm surprised at how far I made it and how good I did. And it's even funner if you try it with a friend on like a couch co-op kind of thing. so we're whipping it good. And I'm a little worried here because my camera's going to run out of batteries. The realities of life, Kevin. Charge your camera or plug it in. Come on, Kevin. Get with the game. It's 2020, baby. You gotta get ahead of the action here. Gotta be prepared. That was very unprofessional of me. I should plug in my electronics before I record. Let's continue with Castlevania 3. Now, we're only gonna play for a little bit today, but I do want to show you a little taste of... Oh, see, I gotta get back in the action. A little taste of what it's like, play Castlevania 3. And this is a game that I highly recommend that you play, not just because I chose it for a video, or because I think it's cool, but I think this is actually a very important game on the NES. I think it's one of the best games on the NES. It's definitely, like, if you played the first one, you gotta check this one out too. Oh, can I knock him off the edge? No, there's no knockback. That was cool. Like, what am I doing? Come back. He's not dead yet. Whoa, is he dead? He hit me too, that's weird. I burn up the Demon Skeleton Knight, which I believe is the second one later in the game. It's even harder. I got that cool pose, like... Throw my whip back. Whip it back. And then we've got our points adding up. Here's the map. Where do you wish to go? And it's not just a map like on the first Castlevania. You actually do get to choose where you wish to go. So we're actually going to go up because I want to show you Grant, who's the first side character, and that's probably where we're going to end it off once we unlock Grant. So it's kind of weird how you have to climb this tower. This is essentially a clock tower that you climb up, and then when you unlock Grant at the top of it, it's not really a spoiler or anything. Wait, another stopwatch? That was weird. There's a stopwatch on the ground, I just picked one up and then... Okay, that's weird. Anyways, when you're basically going up this tower, like up, like not sideways, but like up the whole time. And then when you get Grant, you go down the tower, and it's the same level, but you're going down it. It's kind of interesting the way they have you backtrack. It's kind of like a Metroid kind of thing, almost. But not really, but it is kind of like a Metroid thing. It's weird how they have you backtrack, and it's kind of cool because that way you can choose to play as Trevor if you wish, but it's easier to get back down if you're Grant. So it sells you on getting the new character. It makes it seem like it's worth it to get that new character, and it is worth it. He's a great character. Not like in the story necessarily or anything. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like as a playable character. He has unique abilities, speed, the ability to jump higher and faster, I think. Maybe further, too. And he also has the ability to grab onto walls and stuff, which I believe I mentioned in my little review. It wasn't so much of a review on this one, as it's just a little talk about the game series overall. Or at least the NES portion of the game series overall. So you got these... Those are really cool effects. Those, clock... what are they called? The things in, like, a grandfather clock that talk them back and forth? I don't know what they're called. There might be a specific name for them. If anyone knows that, everyone's like a clock smith, chronologist, or whatever. Let me know about that, because they're part of a clock, but they might have a specific name. Like, I kind of called them something before, I don't remember what it was. And they have them, they have something like that in Castlevania 4 on the Super Nintendo with their chandeliers. This one, they're like part of a clock, which is kind of cooler, I think. Oh, okay, let's not even try to fight these guys. The Medusa heads are relentless. Sometimes you just gotta take it like a man. You're gonna take that Medusa head and just like have it like nip at your ankle or something. Now this part's really freaking tricky. You see that, like, that, it's kind of hard. Those cogs, they move around. And it's actually, that's a good animation too for the NES. This game's pretty advanced for an NES game. It's one of the later releases coming out in 1990 in the US or North American regions. And we're not at the top yet, but we're getting there. But this part's really tricky. But I'm saying, like, I don't think this game runs on every NES. It runs on the NES officials, Nintendo's, but on some of the clone consoles, oh, that's a tricky one. There's two in there, double axe. Some of the clone consoles, this game apparently doesn't run due to like emulation, doesn't run it well. I'm not really sure why that is. I'm not really into that. I'm actually not playing this on an NES, which is why there's been a break in my NES games. I didn't have an NES console, and I was trying to find a decent alternative to the Nintendo NES to make it record faster, record easier to record, and maybe, God, this is so tough. The other way. Just let me get past this part first. This is actually really tough. Oh, come on, I threw the axe. Oh no! So now I have to do this part again. This is tough. I don't like this. This is like my least favorite part of the game. Wow. There's a heart in there that time because I didn't have a sub-weapon, so it won't give me the 2 anyways. The whip upgrade. It's okay, I'll make it to the top. I will. I'm determined. Just because I lost a life. Wait, did I lose 2 lives? No, I think I lost 1. I'm like talking to myself. I don't even know. Let's just try to get through this, and then I can tell you a little more about my new console. As you may have seen if you follow me on Instagram, I got this new console. I can't even think of the name of it. It's by Hyperkin, the Retron. It's not like the Retron that you know and love, but it's called the Retron NES HD or something. No! Whoa! That was close. That one's a hard one to get up. Oh, did he hit me? No! Oh, I dodged that. That was cool. That was tricky. Almost got chopped by a Medusa. Oh, there's meat up there. If I would have made it last... Oh, okay. Now I'm salty. That meat salted me up. So now we're at the boss, which is Grant, or like a monster version of Grant. So I don't have a sub-weapon, but I'm picking up parts anyways. I don't think there's a sub-weapon there. But we gotta focus here. This isn't really that hard of a boss fight, though. So you can hit him. If you're careful, he'll jump over you. Okay, I'm going after him now. Okay, maybe not. Oh, whoa, that was weird. It's a pretty easy boss fight, but even easier if you had sub-weapons or something like that, but yeah. So we defeated this strange monster in this upstairs of the clock tower, and then he transforms into a smaller man. My name is Grant. I dreamed I was turned into a ghost, which is kind of weird, because you weren't fighting a ghost, were you? A Ghostbuster? Please take me with you. My family was killed by Dracula, so he has reason to help you defeat Dracula and save the countryside. What will you do? You actually get a choice. So I'm going to take him with me because I want to show you what he's like. I can help you a lot because I am very fast. I mean, he's not wrong. And then they shake, you son of a...
Whoa!
And, yeah. We got out of that thing when it was blocking off the exit, so that explains how you've only got one way to go, and that's down. So you're going down the same area that Trevor came up. So what you can do now is press select at any time, changes your icon over to, or your character over to Grant, and he's got a little dagger for his weapon, so he has shorter reach. He doesn't have the same kind of whip upgrades that Trevor would get, or Simon would get either. But you can jump really high, so I can pick up those things real easily. You can do this, where you can grab onto the wall. If you let go of the D-pad, you will fall. So just kind of hang onto it and like push it toward the angle or the area that you want to cling onto. It's really a nice control scheme, and it really works well. You can do things like that, cheat to get over there, and you can just go down the stairs normally. And you can kind of go downstairs, and you can also, if you choose to, you can jump off the edge, that was really risky what I just did there, but I just wanted to show you, you can kind of break through the level real fast, because you are Grant the Nasty. That's his name. It's like a pirate or a rogue or something like that, a thief maybe, a little scoundrel, and he's just a little, he's a cool little dude. I don't think he's really little, he's just kind of crouched over at all times, so I don't know what's up with that. You go up here, is there an item up here? Oh, look, see, there's secrets you can get. A 1-up! Oh my goodness! I'm probably gonna waste it if I do that, but how do I get back down? I don't know how to get out of here now! Like, I got the 1-up, can I sneak around here? I mean, I can, but that's weird, it's like a Mario effect. I did it! Wow! That's really cool. I knew that it was up there, but like I don't think I did it the last time I played, so that's cool. I kind of forgot about that. Another thing I kind of forgot, and I just want to make a little teeny tiny apology, but a sincere apology, that this series started in like May of last year, and I kind of forgot, kind of like D&D forgot about Game of Thrones' plot and characters. I kind of forgot about this series, and it's actually really fun. Whoa, that was close. That was at the end of the level. No, I did that. I just want to show you how easy it is to get out of this level playing as Grant. It's actually a lot of fun. I wish you could just jump onto the stairs, but they don't let you do that on this, even with Grant. We're almost to the exit. I just want to see if I can make it there real quick. So we do got an extra life. We gotta go through this part right here with these dongles. I don't know what they're called. Once again, if you know what those are in the chat, or I guess I'm not live or anything, but if you want to chat it up, or somehow tell me what those things are called, I can look them up. They're like grandfather clock like things. Can I jump through there? Oh my gosh, I can. That saves me some time, and I can go over here, so it's nice and safe. Otherwise, I'd have to jump, and it'd be a little more risky. And yeah, let's see if I can get through here. I'm afraid to do this. No! See, it's really weird playing as Grant. It's like a different experience, but it's also like, I don't know how to explain it. It's like Castlevania in setting, of course, but you're playing as a completely different type of character. We made it out of the clock tower, so that's about it for this video. We just made it out nice and safe. You get some points added up as if you were going to complete a level normally, and look what it brings you out to. It brings you out to another branching path, I believe. I believe it's another branching path. Remember, you have a little scenario first, but you just go on an adventure with Trevor, and it's really cool. So you got Trevor and Grant. Yeah, you go onto this area first, but there'll be more branching paths later, as I mentioned in the first portion of this video, where you get Sypha, and then later on you meet Alucard. Alucard's the only one that you meet, like, every time. You have to go and meet Alucard. But I don't think you have to take him with you. I don't know, like, why would you not? But the weird thing is, I think when you get Sypha, you have to get rid of Grant, so it's like, oh, okay. But I don't think you have to get rid of Alucard. Weird. Anyways, I think I prefer Grant to Sypha anyways, because it's just easier for me to use. Nice and fast and nimble and abilities compared to Sypha's magic, which is trickier to use, but might be better in the long run. Might be better on boss fights. It's a tough one. It's a tough one. It's one of my favorites, but it's a challenge. And it's something I do want to complete before I kick the bucket. So Castlevania is the first in the NES series of games. Castlevania is a game about legendary vampire killer Simon Belmont, who, on this game, goes through a quest throughout Dracula's castle to destroy evil Count Dracula, all of his monster minions, which are included as boss fights in this game. It's an action platforming game with a lot of dark horror theme elements to it. So everything's scary, horror-themed monsters. You've got like vampire bats, you've got mummies, you've got Frankenstein's monster, you've got Dracula himself at the end. So Castlevania kind of sets the stage for the rest of the series. This is the prime example of what Castlevania games should be like. And it's sort of like how Super Mario Bros. Is the prime example of what Super Mario Bros. Games are like. And it's the one that everyone remembers. Castlevania on the NES is a real challenge. It is not an easy game. But once you stick with it, learn some of the patterns, learn the enemy types and where they move, and how they attack, and how to dodge that, and how to counterattack back, learning all about the sub-weapons, learning about how much hearts you need, where to jump, where some secret items are, such as the wall meats, that'll give you more health along your way. Those things will help you on your journey throughout Castlevania. So what else can I say about Castlevania 1? It's a true classic on the NES, and it's a game that deserves to be in every NES owner's library. And it's a fun one that most video game players should at least give a try. So then we've got Castlevania 2, Simon's Quest, and this one is a stinker. No, it's not a stinker. It's actually a really fun game with some cryptic NES elements in it, but I enjoy this game. I have a lot of fun with this game. And to be fair, I've actually played this game more than Castlevania 3 because I can last longer on a single playthrough on Castlevania 2 than I can in 3. In Castlevania 3, I'm always dying, always getting thrown off edges, always getting blocked by difficult scenarios. In this game, Castlevania 2, I can play it for a longer amount of time, which makes me want to play it more and more. I still haven't completed Castlevania 2, but it's a fun one to go on. Now, this one's similar to The Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link, which is also on the NES and also inspired by the first Castlevania. Now, both of these games, Zelda 2 and Castlevania 2, are not just action platformers, side-scroller, they are having RPG elements included. So you level up in this, you get items to trade with NPC townsfolk, you go on quests, you have different things that you have to do in the game aside from just going from one side of the screen to the other defeating enemies, such as in the first Castlevania. It's not quite as linear as the first Castlevania game, and there's a lot more stuff to do and think about as you progress through Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest. Now, this is a sequel in the story to Castlevania 1, but our next game, as we'll see, our focus of the day, is actually a prequel to the Castlevania series. Castlevania 3, Dracula's Curse. Now, if you've seen the Castlevania Netflix anime adaptation, you might be familiar with the story of Castlevania 3, because that's the game that that series was directly based upon. You've got Trevor Belmont, you've got Sypha Belnades, you've got Alucard, and then you've got Grant Dynasty, which is... wait, Grant's not in the anime, but he's in the game. Okay, so you've got a series of characters in this game. You might think at first, sounding like that, it might be another RPG like Castlevania 2 was, but nope. This goes back to the great action platforming of the original Castlevania. In fact, the gameplay feels almost identical to Castlevania 1 when you're playing as Trevor. So Trevor's basically like Simon, he's his ancestor. And so in this game, it kind of feels a lot like Castlevania 1, but they do some really important, really interesting things to change up the gameplay. You start out as Trevor Belmont, you complete a level, you think it's just like the first Castlevania, but it's not. You see a fork in the road, you have the option to go two different ways. And that first split path leads you either on your way towards Dracula's castle, or you can take a different route and go up the clock tower, where you'll do battle with a monster, which turns out to be your friend. He turns out to be a helpful companion that will help you along parts of your journey. And you can switch between your sub-characters by pressing select at any time during the gameplay. This really changes up Castlevania's style and allows you not just being a Simon Belmont type character with a whip attack, you also can be different types of characters. And you've got Grant, who has the ability to climb on wall surfaces. You can climb up walls, you can climb underneath walls, you can hang on to things and ledges and stuff like that. He also has some of the sub-weapons that Trevor has, such as the dagger, throwing dagger, and he's actually very agile, fast, and can jump faster. He has less hit points as well. So you gotta kind of pick and choose the right scenario to use either Trevor or Grant. You also unlock Sypha, which Sypha is a girl, but the game calls it a him, so I'm not sure, there might be some localization issues for whatever reason. But Sypha, which is also spelled differently than normally spelled, Sypha is a mage, cleric, witch, something, magic user, and she has the ability to pick up magic books, which can give her a magic sub-weapon attack, and she uses a cane, or staff. About halfway through the game, you fight someone that looks like Dracula, fights like Dracula, but is a little too easy to be Dracula. And once you defeat him, you realize that it's not just Dracula, it's Dracula's son, Alucard. This name Alucard may be familiar to fans of other series of Dracula lore, such as the Son of Dracula movie, which was, I believe, the very first time the name Alucard was even a thing. Alucard is Dracula spelled backwards, and in the movie Son of Dracula, he's actually Dracula in disguise as Dracula's son. It's a little confusing, but in most lore, Alucard is Dracula, such as the anime Hellsing. Alucard is Dracula in that. But in Castlevania, they're actually two separate figures. So you've got Dracula and his son. And Alucard's a very iconic character for Castlevania fans, not just from Castlevania 3, but from Symphony of the Night, where he was the main playable character in that game, as it tells his story later in life. And that's a great game in the series, which changes up the gameplay to an RPG style once again. But now back to Castlevania 3, we've got that new cast of characters of Alucard, Grant, Sypha, and Trevor on their big adventure to destroy minions of Dracula, all those monsters, new monsters included, and destroy Dracula at the end of the game. Now, I've never made it too far in this one. I've only made it about a level or two past the Alucard unlock. Alright everybody, thanks for watching today's Happy Beard Games. If you like this video, please be sure to leave a like, leave a comment, let me know what you think, subscribe today for more classic gaming goodness, and share this with your friends on various social media. You can check me out on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Alright everybody, thanks for watching, bye!
Intense.